What's up, everybody? This is the first episode of the Ask April Love show. So, I'm so excited to have you here with me, and I can't wait to share what we're going to have going on today. I have someone very special in the building with me. It makes all the sense in the world that he will be one of my first guests. This is the Ask April Love show, and I've got something to say.
I'm ready to be disruptive. I'm ready to change the world. I'm ready to give the mic to the right people. I mean, why do the craziest people have the biggest platform? Why are people hiding behind social media? Why are so many people talking about Kanye? Don't we have more to do with our lives every day? Let's talk about it. Ask April Love. It's time to ask the hard questions and get some real answers.
So it's my pleasure to introduce my very first guest on the Ask April Love show. The illustrious, you know what, I'm just going to read some little points from his bio. I know him really well, and we've been doing this together. So me birthing this podcast and the things that he has going on right now are so like in tune, aligned. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get to who you are. He's an editor, media consultant, and social influencer. One of the nation's most sought after experts in the African American and entertainment markets. This Atlanta native has been the go-to guy for the details that embroider, I wanted to say that word,
Yes.
embroider, urban luxury living for more than 3 decades. He's a social studier. He's written for Upscale, Uptown. He's worked in publicity, marketing, event execution, production. You're like the male version of me.
Yeah, I am.
I know.
Cheers.
So help me to welcome Satchel B. Jester.
Hey,
Welcome, Satchel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I didn't go into your entire bio because it reads like, a memoir, but can you tell the people who you are?
My name is Satchel Jester. Like you said, I am an Atlanta native, which I'm very, very proud of.
There's very few of those.
Very few of those. I'm so in love with my city because my city has developed who I am. I grew up, my grandfather was a pastor on the east side of Atlanta. Grew up on the south, but I grew up on the west side from Bankhead. You
Okay.
hear a lot of people talk about Bankhead.
Right.
Essentially, I am the epitome of Bankhead to Buckhead. We see that on T-shirts. Shout out to ATL, Kirsten. I don't know if I can do that, but
you just did it.
I
It's
did.
fine.
But yeah, I'm just. I recently wrote somewhere that I'm a master of the mix, and because there's not one thing that I think I do well. I am a mix of creative and excitement and
Couldn't that
storytelling.
mean that you do all things well?
Yeah, well, I don't do everything well.
All the things that you do.
But the things I do
Right.
well. And now I'm more confident about it than ever before. Like you said, I am currently senior editor of Upscale magazine, which is based in Atlanta.
Nice.
One of the longest published African American lifestyle magazines.
Mhm.
One of few black male editors that you'll find almost anywhere. So I wear that title proudly. I'm just a little magician of sorts. I'm like a little social experience, little kind of anomaly.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think I'm an anomaly too. So yeah. So let's get into the Ask April Love show is built around, of course, love.
Okay.
I believe that there is a lack of love in the world,
Absolutely.
locally, nationally, globally. That's why we have, and I won't name any other podcasts or blogs or Instagram sites that really focus on the negative
Right.
and the lack of love, and
Right.
they perpetuate it. So I was like, instead of continuing to complain about it, repost about it, I'm going to launch something that is a counter to that, the polar opposite of that. Even though it can still be entertaining. It can be
Right.
entertainment out here without mess.
Absolutely.
Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
So we have 4 divine segments that I've kind of like sat down with my team, with Tone, with Rick, with LaShonda, and we came up with some amazing topics.
Okay.
Well, they're not even really topics. They're kind of just like get you started because
Okay.
everything else kind of spills out.
Yeah.
Because I've also decided I'm only inviting intellectual people on.
That makes sense.
So you should be really excited when you get this email,
Yeah, that
this
makes sense.
request.
Why
because
would
I mean,
you-
because I know you're gonna be challenging to pull it out of you. It should come out of you innately. So.
But life is challenging. So.
Yeah, exactly. So this platform is for those people, you
Yeah.
know. So those people that have something to say that people want to listen to.
Right.
Okay, because a lot of people talking and nobody want to hear it. Okay.
Right. How about
So moving right along, we have the love me section.
that? Okay.
We have the teach me section.
Okay.
We have the show me section.
Okay.
And we have the bless me section. Now, I'm not going to define these because they're going to change for every guest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because what I've been taught and what's allowed me to do the things that I do so I can show the world who I am and how I can bless people and I can bless the world and bless this mic are totally different experiences than what you had.
Right.
So now let's get into you in the Love Me section. Love Me is about the passion. Where did the passion to become the Satchel B. Jester that you are today come from?
Great question. I just mentioned in my intro that I grew up a church kid. My grandfather was a pastor of a church off of Gresham Road in Atlanta. And all of my time was spent there. And it was nonstop happenings at this church from, whatever type of program or anniversary or wedding or funeral or, it was always so many things going on that I saw my grandmother, like, coordinating, and I saw really, really smart people that I looked up to, like running this show and writing the script for this show and saying wonderful speeches here and, just being at the forefront of what people enjoyed when they came to our church.
Right.
And it was natural for me. My family, I always say my family is a family full of entertainers. Everybody has a great spirit. Everybody talks a lot like me. And it was just something that was kind of like embedded in my brain. Like I didn't know any other way but to plan the elements that life is complete with. I mean, again, it's celebrations, it's victories, it's singing, it's dancing, it's all of these things. So I had to figure out what that would look like for me as an adult to be able to make sure that no matter what else was happening in the world, I had my hand on the celebrations that I wanted to. And that's
you know how to celebrate.
Yeah, that's where the event planning came from.
Yeah.
And the little bossy part of me came from seeing my grandmother, the first lady, run around the church and tell people how to sit, where to stand, how not to stand.
Yeah.
All those kind of things. So it's a direct result. My family always says they thought I would be a pastor.
It's not too late.
Not too late, but I think I got everything else from there. So it really
right.
all was birthed out of the church.
Nice. And I love that. You know what's so funny? That people tend to shy away from talking about their church roots. And everywhere I go, that seems to be like the most consistent kind of play, especially with people that are doing anything.
Yeah.
Anything of worth. They were rooted in the word, or they were rooted in the church, or they were rooted in something that took them to a level of understanding what that higher power meant to them.
It's my fondest memories in life come from the church. I still have best friends that I grew up with that I still talk to. I mean, it was, you hear some people talk about horror stories of growing up in a church. It wasn't that way for me.
Right, me either.
It wasn't that way for me. Some of my most memorable and magnificent moments were a part of that church. I mean, to look around and to see this church that my grandfather was in charge of, and it was a beautiful church, and it was such smart people there. I mean, it was, I don't know where or what I would be doing if that wasn't where my roots were planted.
Right.
Yeah, so it's no way that I can shy away from that at all. Like that's not even an option. Like it's who I am.
So that's a great segue. Like you mentioned, there's some people that had different upbringings and different, starts to life. But at the end of the day, we all have purpose. And it's always been shocking to people, and when people say, shocking to me, when people say, I don't know my purpose.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm here for. And not even being so specific to you, but can you, in your own words, define what purpose is?
I think simply put, purpose is the why. It's why you wish to get higher education. Is why you wish to learn a trade, a talent.
Right.
I never knew exactly what it would be, but again, it was something that was put in me from birth, that I was meant to leave some type of legacy. And a lot of people say that just in conversation, just real like randomly.
Right.
But I mean it. So I knew in whatever I chose to do. I always say I don't know everything, I don't do everything, but what I know and do, I do well. I always wanted to be the best at it. And again, in that developmental environment, we didn't have an option not to be the best.
Right.
It was a convention, the New Era Progressive Baptist Convention. I think I'm saying that right. And it was a competitive element to. We would go every summer. All the churches would come together, and there was an oratorical contest, and we had to speak. We had to present. We
Right.
had to. So it was never an option not to be good, and it
Mhm.
was never an option not to know why you're here, what you're doing. It was never an option not to get into your education, to have some talent, to have some. So I think my purpose is kind of mixed up in all of that. So I've never questioned the route because I've always known what the end goal was going to be. So as good as I can be on the way, that's always been what I've tried to do.
Okay. So purpose. Do you think? How do some people miss their purpose? How do some people not know their purpose? How is that? What's the disconnect?
I say this from a very loving place. But I've always been taught that children learn what they live.
Mhm.
And I feel like if you don't have people speaking into you
Right.
something
Right.
that speaks to your great and putting you in positions to show you what great looks like, what it feels like. I was always around role models, and I was always somewhere where people had to be accountable. And I said I've gotten it all right and always been the person that my pedigree would speak to.
Right.
But my upbringing and my childhood was filled with visions of being great. So I again, I didn't have an option to wander aimlessly and not know what purpose was at an early age.
Right.
Like I just never. And I talk to people now that like and everybody's story is not my story. I talk to
Right.
people now that are like, what's my purpose? I can't figure it out.
Mhm.
Another thing I always say, and I said this to myself maybe about 10 years ago. I said you can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself.
Right.
And when you start having honest conversations with yourself, I think the answers are there when you ask, what am I good at?
Right.
What am I horrible at?
Mhm.
What do I absolutely not want to do?
Right.
What is one or two things that nobody can take away from me?
Right.
If I ain't got nothing else, I got my fill in the blank.
Mhm.
And when you answer those hard questions, again,
Right.
to yourself,
Mhm.
you get to an answer that
Yeah.
can kind of show you some things.
So I'll piggyback on what you just said because I think that is so profound because when I work with clients as a publicist, as a manager, as a brand manager, the first thing I always try to do is assess and then I make them self-assess. And that is the hardest part. People choke. I say, who are you? They go, I'm an artist on RCA. No. That's what you do. Who are you? Who are you? I'm my mother's child.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? No, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? And then I'm not, that's like, I don't understand what you mean. And then I go into like, what do you want? I'm so surprised every time by the fact that people don't know who they are, what they're here to do, what their why is, and what they actually want. Okay, so you have a deal, and you're an artist, and you're actually seeing some success. Okay, now what do you want out of
What do
this?
you want to do with it?
I just want to have some followers. I'm trying to get the bag. I'm trying. Oh, okay. So then let's say you get this, then what? What is your purpose? What are you here? How are you here to serve? What is your purpose? You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got the money. Okay, you got a little followers. What are you saying to your followers on Instagram?
What are you going to do with it?
I just posted something the other day about a rapper who they said, do you think you should have some kind of social responsibility to the people that follow you, to the kids that follow you? No, I'm just out here having money. I'm wearing my jewelry.
I hate when entertainers say that. You're definitely a role model.
And I don't want to limit them. I don't want to limit it to entertainers too because they kind of get picked on, the entertainers and the athletes, but it's across the board. It's regular people who are looking to they want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, why do you want to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
And what kind of entrepreneur do you want to be? What are your goals? What's your target? How do you want to serve the world? And people they're like, they think so short-sighted.
People are afraid to think. I think. Another thing I'm full of always. I always say when the music stops, then what?
Right.
Because it gets quiet at some point.
Right.
Some way, somehow, it's going to get quiet.
Right.
And you can't run from your thoughts, your fears, your aspirations, your dreams. You can't.
None of
And you're doing a disservice to yourself when you can't say, I want to stand on platforms around the world and do whatever I'm doing, entertain, teach, whatever,
Right.
to droves of people and not know what the attachment to that is or what the responsibility
The
that comes with that
responsibility.
is.
There is one.
There's anybody that's in any position, and at this point, social media, everyone is an influencer, whatever the case may be. But somebody's looking at everybody.
Exactly.
Somebody's looking
somebody
at
in your family,
yeah.
somebody on your job.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have to think past the immediate, especially in an industry. We're talking entertainment, where it comes and goes so quickly.
It's fleeting.
From television to music to everything.
And
so
sports, you're done at 30-something years old.
And then what? And the same thing for me when I do media training sessions with people.
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, like I always tell them, the talent is the last part anyway. So at the point you can't sing anymore, at the point you can't boom cack, like.
Then what?
Then what?
And I want people to understand that that's a big part. And I know this is a God thing, because I'll just be like, these people are crazy. I have nothing to offer them, But what I can do, and what I'm willing to do, and what I'm called to do, is be as transparent and as honest and as in your face as possible. Now, what you do with it is totally up to you. But if you tuned into us right now, you have no choice but to think about it. Like, okay, so if I get 80 years, if I get 65 years, I'm here for a reason. Why am I here? Am I here to serve who? I could be here to serve just my family. But get to it. Get to know what it is. What are you passionate about? What is that thing that's been chasing you your whole life? You know what I'm saying? So some people don't ever stop long enough to really get in tune and see, okay, why am I always drawn to this, to writing? Why am I sitting in LA, but I'm drawn to Atlanta?
Right.
All of that is like, those are like little God signals.
Yeah.
And people are not just, they're so busy checking their phones or working at a job that they hate or fussing about what dude didn't do or baby daddy did that, instead of like, oh, this is about me as an individual person, about loving me, so then I can be of a greater good to everybody else around me instead of worrying about them when I'm not really sure I love or understand me.
You know what? What else I find, I don't know if you run into this with a lot of people. A lot of people don't get to consider themselves.
Right.
I look at artists or, whatever, whatever profession, and people are only interested to the vantage point of what they do.
Right.
Nobody wants to go past that. So nobody asks them, who are you? What do you do for fun?
That's good.
What do you...
That's good.
So they don't realize, like, they don't know because they don't talk about it.
So boom. So when I stopped being a football player, then my life stops? Because that was my whole identity from 12 to 32.
Because every time you see me, you're asking me how many points did I put on the board. You're asking me where's our next game. You're asking me who's calling. Do I have a shoe deal? Do I have all of these things? And you didn't ask. Like, I have... One of my cousins is a rapper. A really big entertainer.
Oh,
And he's huge. And I'll never forget, I was backstage at one of his shows one time here in Atlanta, and he came off the stage, and of course everybody was giving him all the love that you get from putting on a sold out show, yada 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 yada. And when he got to me, I said, how do you feel? And he pulled back, and I said, how do you feel? And he really couldn't answer.
That's the role you play in his life.
But he looked at me almost in shock, because here you are, it's thousands of people in front of the stage, it's hundreds backstage, everybody's waiting on you, but nobody has asked how you feel.
Right. How do you
So imagine doing that day in, day out,
He's
all your life.
forced to tell you how he feels.
Absolutely, but he didn't know what to say.
Yeah, because the majority of people, and like I said, that's why it's such an epidemic with pharmaceuticals and painkillers and everything, because people want to be numb for the most part, because it's like if
you don't want to
feel, I have to come up with the fact of why I'm really not a good father to my son. Oh, I'm really like failing miserably in my career. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to address that.
We don't want to always check into life. Lord knows I don't. I don't want to wake up some days when I have my calendar set for that payment to be made or whatever. But unfortunately, we don't have the liberty to ignore life, because it's gonna make you listen whether you want to or not.
Absolutely, and being the person that I am, I mean, God just won't allow it. Not with me.
No.
I get shaken up,
flipped, status, smothered, and covered.
So my thing is, I had no choice, but even in a career choice, to pivot. I had to pivot because I was done. I was in such a position as an assistant, as, being the best publicist and trying to really, get on and put people in position, and then management, and then labels, and then, even in church, that I was always so busy putting myself in a position to push people forward, that I was so busy feeding egos when I'm here to really feed souls. I was out of place.
We've been doing it every step of the way together. We got the same story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah.
So there you have it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break up some of this fallow ground because it's all about that. It's all about love. That's what I'm hoping that people will start asking April Love. How do I love me? What how can I learn to love myself properly so I can really be everything and be the most effectual person in the earth? However many years you have left, don't waste them.
And it's okay to ask that question.
It's okay.
It's not a dumb question.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to ask your therapist. It's
Yeah.
okay to have a therapist. So that helps us kind of segue into our next portion. It's time to teach. Anyway, teach me is so profoundly important because I think the majority of us think that our failures can't really teach us anything. Our lessons and journey in life can't really. I don't think we pick up the nuggets. We don't pick up all the lessons. So let's get into some of the lessons that you've learned in life because we all have. And when we start to communicate about them, they can really, really be impactful on the people around you. So what can you touch on a couple of the life lessons you've learned on this journey of yours?
Oh God. What haven't I learned? I've learned honesty is king. I think that was my biggest lesson. One can say that working in entertainment, it's about a lot of fast talking. It's a lot about sealing the deal and going in and pitching and whatever's necessary and just saying it to get it done.
Right.
And that reared its ugly head a lot of times for me. And I don't know, it put me in a lot of situations. And I would get out of the situation. I would say, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do it like that again. And I would do it again. And then I would do it again. And then I would do it again. And it started to be my detriment.
Right.
I started to lose the beauty of what my ability and my talent was because I was running from the trail that I was leaving from being dishonest. So it was one of those things where I just had to tell myself one day, this don't work. This is not how you do this.
That's stressful.
Yeah. And again, I started having really honest and hard conversations with myself. I didn't need nobody else to tell me because I was telling myself.
Right.
So I knew I was wrong. I didn't need anybody else to come in and tell me that. So that was one. That was one thing. And then the power of no. I still don't know that I've all the way conquered the power of no. No doesn't take an attachment.
Right.
And a lot of times not saying no led me to that dishonesty.
Right.
Because here's the thing. I never wanted to miss an opportunity.
Right.
I never wanted to not be included. I never wanted to show weakness in the sense of not being able to deliver or whatever it was. So I wouldn't say no. Even if I knew something was a hard no.
Right.
I wouldn't say it.
I can attest to that. Oh my God. My producer Tone can co-sign on me. I was stretching my bandwidth more than Comcast.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it was just like, well, yeah, we can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Because in my mind, it was almost kind of saying I was defeated.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't take
Me
that
too.
on. And it's not that you're not capable of doing it, but should you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. For your own sanity.
I was trying to play. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just trying
That's
to.
honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just wanted to always be. I wanted to appear like a Superman. I wanted to show that I could do it better than everybody else.
Right.
All of those things, and it left such a. It just wasn't a good place. And the day that I decided to listen to what I know was right, to be truthful, to be honest, that goes a long way, and it's so simple. I'm sure a lot of people will say a lot deeper stuff, but the simplicity in being honest and standing confidently in your yeses and nos.
Yes.
Because we know what our
lived it.
capabilities are. We know even taking gigs with clients that you have no interest in, and then
Whatsoever.
what happens is you get the check, or I'll say me, I'll speak
Yeah.
directly. I get the check. I'm not interested in your music, your brand, your following, your friends. I don't want to come to the place you want.
I don't want to pick up the phone when you
I don't
call.
want to do any of that.
I mean, can you text me?
While I'm trying to get the check,
yes,
I'm very interested.
Yeah.
And then when I get it, I'm not that available.
Now you're burdened.
And
now you're gonna get accused of not doing a great job.
Absolutely. But the thing
dropping the ball.
I'm not doing a good job, and I am dropping the ball.
Yeah.
But then, I'm gonna make you feel like it's something you're doing, and that's not fair either.
I think we learned the same lesson.
Take that to somebody who will better serve you.
Yeah.
And it's something that kept pulling me back, because then I would say, well, why am I not progressing? Why aren't I getting these bigger opportunities or being able to do these things? It was because I was operating in a space that wasn't for me. In saying these yeses, it was keeping me somewhere that should have been a no for me.
Exactly.
You know?
And I can bear witness to the fact that when you did pivot, and you started to let go of things that and that's so funny, because the things that you were taking on, it wasn't just about you. People said you should be doing it.
Yeah.
People are in your ear telling you how they see you and what you should be doing.
We've had countless conversations, and you'll be like, Satchel, I'll be like, no. You're an influencer. You're I'm
this,
call
you're
you
not
that.
that. No, and you didn't. But then that countenance changed, and that weight fell off, and you look happy.
I'm happier now than I think I've ever been.
Right, and it shows.
Ever.
It shows.
And I feel so. I'm real quick to sound like I'm a hippie, a free spirit, any of those kind of things, because the things that I'm appreciative for in the space that I operate in is so organic, and it's so easy, and it's so truthful, and it's not always perfect, but I got my hand on all of it because I'm present. I'm present in my life. I'm present in my career. I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly what's not happening, and I'm okay with what's not happening, and I'm so thankful for what is. And in being in this space has allowed the gifts to truly make room.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh. I feel like you just taught me a lot. Expounded on things that I already knew.
You know.
But it definitely widened my perspective on it, because that is true. When you see someone else kind of walking that same journey, it's so refreshing. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to just say no. It's okay to not do it anymore. I decided I don't want to do it.
Well,
I don't want to do that
Well,
anymore.
we get so stuck on being defined by things that matter but don't matter.
Right.
You know, I wanted so badly for people to say, oh, he's the best publicist in Atlanta. But I didn't really want to be a publicist.
Right.
I didn't. You know, and it was more so about what everybody else saw in me than what I saw in myself.
And that was validation.
And that's a
missing thing in yourself.
That's a bad equation.
That's a bad thing.
Because
when you need people to validate you, that's what social media thrives off of. Like me, please. Like, let me get less clothes on. How about these panties? Do you like them?
Yeah, and see, I've never been, I wasn't raised to be that kind of person.
Right.
I wasn't raised to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
Any of that. I was taught that I was amazing in whatever my amazing space was. And when that started to become negotiable and dependent upon who was telling it to me, that became a problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it subconsciously, I'm like, no, I don't want to not be known as a publicist.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the best publicist I could be, so I almost need that to be gone.
Okay. Love me. Teach me. Now let's talk about show me. Now, what are you prepared to, after all of this? I mean, I'm talking about a journey worthy of one of these best-selling books.
Yeah.
What is it that you're ready to show the world? Because I know you are. I see.
Oh, wow. I'm ready to show the world. I'm ready to do what I'm doing right now. I write for a magazine, a publication. I've written for several publications. People have read my point of view for quite some time. I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready to sit at some interesting tables and have some interesting and challenging conversations. That's my first thing. And I'm also ready to show people the inside of this wacky little creative brain. I always tell people my muses are Walt Disney and Spike Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a combo.
Yeah. It's fairy tale and it's some real living all at the same time.
Okay.
So I want to bring a few books to film. I want to produce a few shows.
Are you working on a book?
I am working on a book.
Do tell.
I am working on a book.
Fiction, nonfiction?
Oh. I'll say fiction. It's fiction.
Oh, okay.
It's fiction. So fiction and self help. Those are the two.
Okay.
The two spaces.
All right.
I'm excited. One is just a good old. I grew up, and it's funny because I remember reading "Waiting to Exhale" when I was, I don't know how young I was. So I grew up reading the Terry McMillans and the Elin Harrises.
Right.
All of those
Oh,
books.
so good old, yeah, good
old,
fiction, like
yeah,
real visual.
good old,
Yeah.
don't put it down fiction, that classic Afro-American noir, just that whole, that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. So books and television, the books and the television space is
Okay.
my show and tell session.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that'll be something that you can use to actually lead others, show them the
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I use my platform as being a journalist to show others. Like I worked with Ford on a project that they did with Morehouse College last year. We did a lunch and learn where journalism students came in, and for an hour we just kind of talked about the business, and we talked about how it was changing and some do's and don'ts. So as often as I can mentor anybody just in the media, creative, that space, I do.
As we're ready for this Bless Me segment, how important do you think it is for you to be that mentor, for you to pour back into the younger generation?
It's very important.
Oh my God.
It's more important than people will know. I never mince about saying I didn't get a start in this industry because I was just that good. We have mutual friends, Charlotte and Sabrina, that walked me into the industry. Like literally, I can remember, and I would be embarrassed where they would say like, Jermaine, you need to know this little boy, he can do this, and this person, you need to know this little boy, he can do this.
That's awesome.
I remember I told a story at a brunch we were at a few weeks ago, both you and I. I remember Hannah Kane like coming to my house and being like, let me show you how this goes. Let me, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know what you're over here doing, but let me tell you what you need to do. So I haven't gotten this far at all on my own merit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's been a lot of prayer and a lot of people that have said, come here, let me hold your hand.
Yeah.
Let me, I'm going to hold your hand, I'm going to lead you to it, then I'm going to push you out the window to see how you fly.
Yeah.
So I never shy away from anybody that asks me for help. And I also offer my opinion when people don't ask for it. If I see somebody, when I'm on red carpets or even when I'm doing interviews and I see something that I know I tug their shoulder and say, come here, you don't know me, but let me tell you this.
That's awesome.
You have to.
They have to, because a lot of them are so, coming out of college with an entrepreneurial mindset, not having any kind of paid any dues, any kind of life lessons, any kind of mentorship.
And don't have any
and
idea.
And I'm like, I remember those benchmarks. I remember people that have taken me under their wing and shown me, okay, this is the way. Like Tasha Witten-Griggs, who's an SVP at TV1. I've been working with her from the beginning when we would put together press kits, and she was so overly detailed about the grammar, and I'm like, ooh, and that's who I am now. I'm nitpick everything from a comma to a punctuation.
Absolutely.
Because it all matters. It all speaks to you. I know you feel the same way, but I feel so overjoyed when I get these emails or tags on social media from former interns that are like, I'm telling you, like they are blazing trails. And they really like say, oh my God, you were my first job, and I'm doing the stuff that you taught me to do. And man, I mean, because I'm a real, tear person. Like, I'm all emotional reading the DMs or the emails, because I feel like I have people like, Dr. Adeline Evans at FAMU, or different people in my life that have been so profoundly intricate in me getting to where I am.
Absolutely.
And to be one of those people, man, that's...
Especially when you're a person that, the makings of me are people that have taught me things and showed me and taught me how to speak and how to be and how to write.
Yes.
Like, I can name each and every one
people
of those
that see
names.
things in you that you didn't even see
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's people that still see things.
Right.
So I appreciate being able to sow even the smallest seed into anybody's life, because you need it.
Yeah,
you need it.
seed sowing.
Especially as a self-starter, entrepreneur, sometimes you need those people to just kind of grab you by your elbow and say, I got you. What you need. What can I tell you? What can I show you?
And this is what I see in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not going to settle for anything less out of you.
Absolutely.
Yep. So that helps us to close out with the Bless Me section. So, I think you'll bless the people by sharing like some things that are really like impactful for you now, that are helping you to segue into the state of showing people this next level of you. What books are you reading?
I'm reading Steve Canal's book.
There it is.
It's actually
The
right in
Mind
front of
of a
us.
Winner. Yes.
Is it The Mind of a Millionaire?
The Mind. Oh, yes.
But that too.
The Mind of a Winner.
The Mind of a Winner.
Yeah, we need him on the show.
I'm reading that. What else am I reading? I'm rereading a fiction book by Tanya Lewis Lee and Crystal McCrary, The Gotham Diaries.
Oh, nice.
Such a good book.
What?
Such a good book. Such a good book. And I'm reading prose and post written by people that I think are really smart. I don't think we always have to read a book.
Right.
I appreciate going on social media. My social media, I try my best to fill it with people that inspire me.
Right.
You know, and everybody says that, but people that I can take something from.
Yeah.
But I know some really, really smart people that aren't writers, that haven't penned a book,
Right.
that don't get the opportunity to sit at tables like this
Right.
and share their things on a bigger platform. But to be able to hold in the palm of my hand and just scroll and read some of the most beautiful affirmations, lessons, ups, downs, it does a lot. It really, really does a lot.
That's
and
awesome.
you know, it's raw and it's genuine, because I feel like people take to the people that I follow on Instagram, they
Right.
take to it and use it for what it's for.
Right.
So I appreciate being able to get interesting perspectives, interesting comments. So that's what I'm reading. I'm always reading something. I'm always picking up somebody magazine, somebody book, because I write about it. That's my
Right,
job.
that's your job, right.
But those are the standout. Those are the standout things,
That's
right?
awesome. So last word, showing up. How do you show up every day?
I was just telling my friend this last night. I wake up every day, and we don't know what the day holds. None of us. I wake up every day and intentionally say, I'm going to do today the best way I can. I'm going to be the best me that I can be today. Whatever that means. That doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean without flaw. I wake up, I pray, and I try to do something that feeds into me personally, professionally. I try to make sure my family's okay. I try to approach the day with a clean heart and an excited spirit.
Awesome.
And that's really all I can do. And I find that there's a magic in that. When I just wake up every day and know that I have a responsibility to be so much better today than I was yesterday, and to give today everything I've got, because I might not be able to do it again.
Right.
If it's nothing else that makes you show up,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
Wake up and be the best that you absolutely can be. It sounds simple. It may sound cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason.
Right.
That's what I do. And it's working.
And it's working.
It's working.
And that's a wrap. You know what? I want to thank you. I love you.
I love you.
I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm such a fan. You know it.
I'm a fan of yours. You know,
Aw.
I ride for yeah.
So, tell people how to reach you on social media. How can you keep up with you? And
My social media is Seen by Satchel, SCENE by SATCHEL, and my website is Seen by Satchel. I'm not that good at Facebook. Facebook is depressing. It is to me. But yeah, my website, my Instagram, I'm around. I'm always
You're on the
there.
scene.
I'm on the scene. You know. I appreciate feedback. Like, talk to me. I talk back. People say that all the time, but I communicate. I'm a communicator, so definitely reach out and share some love and some opportunities, and let's be great together. Yeah.
let's be great.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the Ask April Love Show. Let's be great. Let's continue to bless everybody. And don't forget to love you, because I'll be loving me.